Hello everyone, my name is Heather and welcome to the channel Bookables. Today I'm going to be sharing my favorite holiday reads. I love doing this video every single year because I add books every single year because I love Christmassy, cute romance books. They are just the perfect books to end the year with because, you know, it's the end of the year. You want just something lighthearted, fun, easy reads, and those are like my favorites. So today I have a long list of some amazing holiday books. Not only that, but I have three categories that I'm kind of breaking them up in. The first one, the bulk of the books are going to be adult romance books. The second one is adult novellas. So these are really short stories. If you don't have a lot of time to read a full-length holiday novel, these are great ones to read because they're all under like 200 pages, I believe. And the last little section is going to be some of my favorite YA holiday reads because I do have some of those as well. So I'm going to stop talking and let's get into it because, like I said, there is a lot. I've done this video, like I said, multiple years, so I'll leave all the previous ones down below. First up, these are in no order, by the way, I have In a Holidays by Christina Lauren. Christina Lauren's one of my favorite adult romance authors because they just write really fun romance books, and they decided to write a holiday one a couple years ago, and I really enjoyed it. So this is about a character named May whose family and her family's like best friend always goes to this cabin for Christmas, and so she goes there. She learns that her family is selling off this cabin, which is really heartbreaking because they've celebrated so many holidays there, summers there, things like that. Not only that, but she has been kind of in love with her kind of parents' best friend's son for a long time now, and she's never really confessed how she feels, and she just leaves the trip feeling really unhappy, and she kind of just throws this wish in the universe of like, show me what will make me happy. And the next thing you know, she wakes up, she is on the plane heading to the cabin again. So it's kind of like a Groundhog Day situation. Things keeps repeating because she has to find what truly makes her happy. Romance ensues, you can guess it. It was really cute. Next up, we have kind of a sweeping love story, and that is One Day in December by Josie Silver. This is a very polarizing book. Some people, like me, love it. Some people do not like it, and I can understand both categories. But this one is about a character named Lori, and she is on the way home from her job. Like, she's on the bus. She's kind of like, I hate my life. And then she sees a guy outside the window at the bus stop, and they immediately have like this connection. You know, they lock eyes, and they're like, this is it. And she tries to get off the bus, he tries to get on the bus, and it doesn't happen. So she's like, bus boy, I miss you. Like, where are you in my whole life? And so she searches him for like a year. She's like, where is he? I want to see him again. And then the year rolls around. Her best friend is like, her best friend and roommate is throwing a Christmas party, and she's finally gonna introduce Lori to her new boyfriend. And who should that new boyfriend be but the mysterious busboy, aka Jack? And so immediately she's like, crap. And basically what happens from there is like a really like decade-long year friendship between her and Jack, of how they have these feelings, but he's in a relationship with their roommate, but also he may not be. And it's just kind of a sweeping love story, if you will. I really liked it. It was very emotionally heavy. I will say, if you're looking for a light and fluffy Christmas read, this one's not for you at all. But I really enjoyed it, how it really took over a decade time of dissecting two characters' story of how maybe they're meant to be, maybe they're not meant to be, but I personally loved it. Next up, we have a recent read from this year, Just Like Magic by Sarah Hoggle. This book is over the top, so in case you're not interested in over the top books, and maybe skip this one, but this book follows the character Betty, and Betty is very materialistic. She comes from a rich family. Basically, she had all this money that she inherited, and then she blew it, and so she's quite frankly poor, but she doesn't want her family to know she's poor. She has to maintain the image. So she one night is not really feeling the best, maybe drinks too much and plays a vinyl record backwards, and somehow it conjures up the Christmas spirit, Hal, the literal Christmas spirit. And he's like, you know, I'm here to make you feel Christmas. I'm here to like grant you some wishes. And she's like, oh great, you know, like give me all these materialistic items that'll make my family like me. And she goes home to visit her family, and Hal comes to pretend to be her boyfriend. And the whole book is meant to show Betty the true meaning of Christmas, the true meaning of family, because she's got a very estranged family. It's always about one-upping each other. And it's just like, the way I see this book is Hal is literally Buddy the Elf. There's no other comparison. Like, the author had to have Buddy the Elf in mind for writing this book, because I was picturing him the entirety of reading this book. Like, he decorates over the top like Buddy. He's overly Christmas spirited like Buddy. He wants to go ice skating, make hot chocolate, and make cookies all the time. Like, it's just Buddy reincarnated pretty much. But he was such a breath of fresh air. Like, it was just so fun. And like I said, this book is over the top. They have so many things that are normally not happening at all, but somehow this book makes it work. And at the end, I did shed a tear because it just got so heartwarming and then romancy, which I wasn't expecting, but I really liked it. This one is kind of polarizing as well. I personally liked it a ton and would recommend it if you want something like Buddy the Elf, but with some romance. This is a sentence I never thought I'd say, but here we are. Next up, we have A Cross-Country Christmas by Courtney Walsh. I read this one on a whim last year, and I am so glad I did. This is an underrated Christmas read that I think a lot of people need to read. So in this book, we follow a character named Laura and also a character named Will. And basically, they both live, I think, in California, and they have to get back home for the holidays because Will is kind of like her brother's best friend. And so they decide to cross-country road trip together to get back home. And there's a lot of unresolved feelings because, like I said, Lauren has loved him forever, and he's kind of not reciprocated those feelings, but maybe he is. And the whole book is about their road trip and, of course, how it takes detours and about them discovering their feelings for each other. Maybe they do have feelings for each other, and it's just so sweet. I loved it so much. Like, I don't hear a ton of people talk about it, but it's one that I think goes under the radar a lot that should be read, and it's just an overall fun one. If you love holiday books, if you love traveling books, like road trip books, this is a great book to read. Also, mutual pining, you know, kind of the whole brother's best friend trope. I loved it a ton. Then we have a couple ones that I read very, very recently that I loved. First up is Love Light Farms. I forget the author. I think it's BK, but this is the first book in a brand new series, and in this book we follow character Stella, and Stella owns her own Christmas tree farm. Like, she is living the dream. Like, when, you know, she does pumpkin patches in the fall and then summertime stuff, but mainly she's Christmas tree like ready. But only the Christmas tree farm is not doing so well financially, so she decides to enter this competition that a Instagrammer is hosting, and the cash prize is like $100,000. Like, sign me up. Only on the application she puts that her and her boyfriend own this Christmas tree farm, only she doesn't have a boyfriend. So she enlists her best friend of over a decade, Luca, to be her fake boyfriend. And this book is the literal definition of mutual pining, where both characters are so in love with each other that everybody else sees it but them, even though, like, you're pretty sure they can see it, but they just won't admit it to each other. Like, oh my gosh, the pining and the yearning, unrealistic in this book. Obviously there's fake dating because that's the whole slew of this book, is the whole fake dating, but they really finally, with this fake dating facade, realize that they do have feelings for each other. They are meant to be more than friends, and it's just so freaking sweet. Love it. Like I said, this is the first book in a brand new series that I definitely will be continuing on, and the whole book is just overly Christmas. She owns a Christmas tree farm, so she decorates it. She, like, does all these things, and it's just like, I want to go there and I want to live It's amazing. We have Holiday Romance. I forget the author of this one. Please forgive me. In this book, we follow a character named Molly. And basically, Molly is from Ireland, but she lives in Chicago. And so this book kind of goes all over time, if you will. She first goes to, on catching her Christmas flight home, she runs into her, like, roommate's boyfriend, Alex. Only Alex is about to get broken up with, and she's like, crap. So they are both from Ireland, so they're on, like, this 17-hour flight together, so they become friends. And it becomes kind of a yearly tradition for them to meet up and take the same plane every single Christmas together, and it's just kind of their thing. So throughout this book, you're getting glimpses of their, like, plane ride from 3 years back, from 5 years back, and things like that. The whole point of the whole plot line, though, of this book is that they're on their way home to Christmas and their flight gets canceled. And so, you know, Alex is from a very big family, and he, like, wants to go home to Ireland. He needs to go home, and so Molly kind of makes it her mission to get him home. So they go to, like, Buenos Aires, and they have to go to Paris, and they have to go to London, and they have to go to Ireland. So it's like a whole rigmarole just to get home, but Molly really wants it. Again, this is much like the last one where it's mutual pining. Like, everyone can see that they're really into each other, but they're now just realizing that, hey, maybe I do love you after all. Like, you can see as the reader from 10 miles away. But the journey to get there is just so beautifully sweet, and I loved it. It's a funny one. It's probably the funniest one on this. I just really liked it a lot. I also really resonated with Molly because she is a perpetual crier of any situation, and that is me to a T. I don't think I've ever read a book like that where they really represented me as a character with that, because she just cries at the drop of a hat for no reason, and I do that too because I just I don't know. It's like when you have that, you literally cannot control it. Like whenever a situation gets, like whenever a conversation gets serious, I just cry. I literally cannot help myself. So it is a super fun one that I highly recommend. Next up, I have a very steamy one in case you're interested in, and that is Window Shopping by Tessa Bailey. This is a short book. It's almost novella, but not quite. So that's why I'm putting it on the full-length novel list. This is about characters Stella and Aiden. And Stella basically just got out of jail for something, and she's looking for a job, and somehow she gets to be like this window dresser. If you know, if you go on like New York and Saks Fifth Avenue, you know, the windows of like how it's beautifully decorated, that's her job. Like she actually went to college for it, which is just really awesome, honestly. And she gets a job from Aiden, and he is just kind of, you know how in the last book I said kind of a character was like Buddy the Elf? Aiden is literally Ted Lasso. Like ridiculous. If you don't know who Ted Lasso is, he has his own show. He's just overly upbeat, overly optimistic, just very, very nice. And he is Ted Lasso. He is kind of the boss, and they feel attraction immediately, but they can't be together because he's the boss and she's the employee. But, you know, things progress. And like I said, this does have a lot of steam in it. So just be forewarned about that in case you're not into that. But I really enjoyed it. It's a great holiday one. It's not overly holiday-ish, but she's, you know, decorating the shops for Christmas. So that's holiday, right? Yeah. And we have another very steamy one, and that is 'Tis the Season for Revenge. This book, it starts off like literally like Legally Blonde, the movie. We have a character named Abby, and she is getting ready for her boyfriend's Halloween party. Like it's a corporate Halloween party. So she dresses up kind of like Elle Woods did in when she was invited to a party, like kind of like a Playboy bunny, if you will. Only when her boyfriend picks her up, he's like, oh my gosh, you can't come to my lawyer party like that. You'll embarrass me. Like, how could you? And he breaks up with her. Spoiler warning, he's the worst jerk of all. Like, ugh. So basically, Abby's like, you know what? I've devoted years and years to this guy with never getting anything back, and I'm going to show him. I'm going to sleep with his boss. So she does just that. She sleeps with Jamie and his boss, only she catches feelings and things start to get really dicey because she wants to get revenge on her ex-boyfriend because he is the worst of the worst, but she also feels a lot for Damien. Like I said, this is around Christmas because the whole goal is for her to get invited to the Christmas party in the Rainbow Room in New York that her boyfriend never brought her to, so she can be shown off on his boss's arm and be like, hey, you didn't want me, but your boss did. I mean, I can't fault her for this at all because he was horrible. So it's set around the Christmas time, and it does have like a lot of steam, just so you're forewarned into it. Next up, I have some novellas. Like I said, these are under 200 pages. They're short, they're sweet, they're great. I love them all. My favorite is Mistletoe Motive by Chloe Liese. It's just so cute. It's got a little bit of steam, but I loved it so much. This is set in a bookstore. We follow two employees that work at a bookstore. It's kind of like a family-owned bookstore. We follow Gabriella, who is like Christmas incarnate. She loves Christmas. She loves celebrating it. She just loves it. She loves working in the bookstore, and she wants to decorate and do all these things, only the bookstore is kind of going under. The guy that she's working with is kind of very critical with numbers and things like that, named Jonathan, and they just really kind of loathe each other. They like hate each other. But of course, as time goes on, they realize that they do like each other, and opposites always do attract. It's super cute. Can't tell you anything more because I don't want to give it away, but I loved it. Wrapped Up in You by Talia Hibbert. Oh, this is another amazing one. So this one's about two characters named William and Abby, and William has been best friends with Abby's brother for a long, long time, and he's also really liked Abby for a long time. He's an actor who had a really great career. He was on like, you know, People's Sexiest Men Alive. I don't even know what it is, but he's ready to be done with acting. He's ready to settle down. He's ready to like have a regular job, start a family, and he's finally going to tell Abby that he is in love with her. And so it's all set in like Abby's grandmother's really snowy cabin, and things escalate from there, and it's just so freaking cute. I need to make a video of just like brothers best friends because that's a trope that is just very fun that I love a ton. Then we have Booked Up for Christmas by Lily Menon. This is about an author named Sophia, and she is throwing a Christmas party that she does every single year, and then her critic guy that hates all of her books named named Evan comes, and she's like, why are you here? And he's like, I was invited, da 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 da. But she's like, you hate all my books. And he's like, well, I don't really hate all your books. And through some sort of course of action, he is the last one left at her party, and then they literally get snowed in. So of course they have to ruminate on why they don't like each other, and things happen with all of these books. You can clearly tell where the plot is going a mile away. But does that make it any less fun? No, it doesn't. The last stack of books I have are YA books, because I have read some YA Christmas books that I really love. One of my favorite holiday reads of all time is The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Can. I love this book. This is a reimagining of A Christmas Carol, obviously. This is about a character named Holly Chase who was quite horrible. She's just horrible. And she gets visited by all of the ghosts on Christmas Eve. And with those things, you get visited by the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future, and you change your ways, and you wake up the next day a different person, ready to do things. Holly was like, no, I'm good. I don't want to do any of that. So she died. That sounds so brutal. And now she's picked up, she's stuck at Project Screw as the latest ghost of Christmas past. And she gets assigned to this new case that they do, and this guy that she has to convince of his past to change it, and she starts to catch feelings for him. And it's just really cute. It reminded me a lot of the newest movie that just came out, Spirited, I think. I did not finish it. I could not get into it. Please tell me I'm not the only one, because I feel like it's gotten really good reviews, but I just was not feeling it for some reason. But it's very reminiscent of that, how they have this project and how they pick a person every year and how behind the scenes and things like that. But this one I loved. Very heartwarming, very cute. Definitely my favorite YA holiday book of all time. Then we have 10 Blind Dates by Ashley Elston. So this book follows a character named Sophie who just got broken up with by her boyfriend. So she goes to her family's house for Christmas, and all of her aunts and uncles are really sad. So they all make this board of blind dates for her, because they're like, we're determined to find you the right guy. And so she goes, she's like, fine, I'll go on these 10 blind dates. Why not? And so it's all about her different dates that she has that her family sets her up with. And it's just fun and over the top. And of course, she maybe starts to realize that she has feelings for someone that's been in front of her all along, But it was super cute. I love the whole big family aspect of it. It's a great YA one for sure. The last book I have is So This Is Christmas by Tracy Ardeen. And this book we follow a character named Finlay who is from a town called Christmas. And you would think that it's, oh, so magically and beautiful. It's not that great. It's a very small town. They don't do as much for the tourism part of it. So her grandmother owns this bed and breakfast. So she goes home to there, and she's in boarding school, and she's thinking about quitting boarding school because she just hates it. And then who shows up but her arch nemesis there? I forget his name. And he's like, I've heard you talk so much about your town. And she's like, what? And so, of course, they become friends, and then something more, and it's all about learning about the town of Christmas and how they got to be named that town and how they kind of need to be better with tourism and things like that. It's kind of like if Stars Hollow didn't have Taylor Dorsey, I guess you could say, really. But it's a really fun and cute one. So there you have all of the holiday reading recommendations I have for you. There's a lot of books. I love reading them every single year, and every single year I have to make this list longer and longer because I add more that I love. I would love to know what books you love to read near the holiday season. If you love reading light and fluffy things, if you love reading dark things, I would love to know. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.